What's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Luttie's Look Back. My name is Nick Luttrell. On today's show, we'll talk some Arkansas baseball, softball, football, and basketball. All four of them all in one show, and we'll start my show how we always do with my three big things from the big thing from the weekend. You could argue that it was a spring football game. We'll get to that later for the Arkansas football team, but it's baseball season, and we're talking about baseball. We're talking about the Diamond Hogs. On Thursday, a 5-4 win over Missouri. Friday, a 6-0 win over Missouri. And then Saturday, a 6-1 loss. And we'll talk about it. You see the three things, big things behind me. Game 3, loss is a concern. Yes, Arkansas has lost a lot of their Game 3 games of the series in the SEC play. They've lost them a lot, and that is concerning because they don't have a Game 3 pitcher. We'll talk about that in a second. My second big thing, strikeouts offensively, not pitching, is also a concern. It continues to be an issue for this Arkansas team offensively as far as the bats go, as far as hitting home runs and getting bunts and base hits and all those things. Strikeouts are an issue for this team. And then finally, a good job, if there's any kind of sort of positive, there's some good pitching, but a good job cleaning up fielding errors. And I'll explain why it's errors in air quotes. So let's start with my first big thing. Are the Game 3 losses a concern? Yes. Absolutely. Arkansas has had 7 SEC series that they've played this season. Only 2 of them have they won Game 3. They've lost the other 5. So they're 2-5 in Game 3s this season. That's concerning for a lot of reasons, because you want to win baseball games, but also because they don't have that bona fide Game 3 starter like they have in the past. And now that happens with teams. Typically, you have your Friday night guy, and he's your best pitcher. Then you have your Saturday guy, and he's, second best pitcher. Then you have your Sunday guy, and that can change every now and then. And it's okay to change if you're like, hey, Parker Coyle is playing better, so let's swap him out with Colin Fisher to be that Game 3 starter. That's okay. What's not okay is all of our pitchers are not good enough to start a game, is basically what has happened over the course of this SEC season. Because coming into the season, it was Colin Fisher. And he's more of a bullpen guy last year, came in for relief, and the thought was he would make that step to be a Game 3 starter this season. He just hasn't. He really hasn't. Looking at his stats and looking at all of Arkansas's Game 3 starters in SEC play, Colin Fisher started the first Game 3 against Mississippi State. He pitched great, 4 2/3 innings. The next game, 2 1/3 innings pitched. The next game, 2 1/3. The next game, 2 2/3. And then after that, I said, Fisher, you're done. Let's go Tate McGuire. Let's give Tate McGuire a go at Game 3 starter. He lasted 3 innings, didn't do great against. Well, actually, he did end up getting the win. I don't know if he was charged with the win, but Arkansas got the win. He lasted 3 innings. Then they started Parker Coyle last week against Georgia. Well, remember how that went. That's when Georgia scored the 26 runs. He pitched 2 2/3 inning. And then Colin Fisher, they said, hey, let's go back to Colin Fisher this weekend against Missouri in Game 3. And it was his worst performance by far. So I don't know what's going to happen. There's 3 SEC series left this season, and there's just no idea at all who Arkansas's Game 3 starter is going to be. Most of the season, it's been Colin Fisher, but clearly, I just read you the numbers there. He's not able to last more than – he can't get through the 3rd inning. He just can't. He did it in that very first SEC series, but he hasn't been able to since then. And that's fine. Colin Fisher, come out of the bullpen and get him fired up and pitch 2 innings. That's okay. The bigger concern is that Arkansas pitching as a whole doesn't have a guy who can last longer than that. They have Cole Gibbler, they have Hunter Dietz, they have Gabe Gackle, they have Ethan McIlvain. McIlvain can only last a couple innings, and he's got the stuff to last a couple innings, and he's good the way Arkansas utilizes him right now. Gabe Gackle, can't figure him out. Don't get me started on that. Hunter Dietz is pretty good. Cole Gibbler has been improving and showed a lot of progress, especially in their Game 2 win. Arkansas shutting out Missouri on Saturday, or on Friday, I should say, because that's a good win. 6-0, that's a good win. What's bad is the loss on Game 3, and that's concerning just to lose, and this goes outside of any of my big 3 points real quick here. It's concerning because of Missouri. Missouri hadn't won an SEC home game in over a year, or close to, or 2 years. it had been like 20-something games since Missouri had won a baseball game in Columbia. And Arkansas said, here you go. Here's your first. Let's break the losing streak for you. Missouri had only had 3 SEC wins the entire season. Arkansas gave them their 4th. Missouri's not a good baseball team. Now, they're better than they were last year. And Arkansas is not. Arkansas is just not better than they were last year. Arkansas is a team that is struggling right now. And a big reason is because they can't win Game 3 of some crucial series where they could have the opportunity to win the series or to sweep a team, and they just haven't done that this season. And that is concerning. The second thing that's also concerning, that's my first big point, is kind of about Arkansas's pitching. This is more about Arkansas's offense. Both aren't good right now. Pitching is better at times. Hitting is better at times. But Arkansas, their strikeout numbers, and I didn't go super into the weeds on how does this compare to recent years. That would take me an hour to really find those stats. And I didn't do that. I apologize. But what I did find out is Arkansas struck out 32 times this weekend. On the flip side, Missouri struck out 28 times. Now, Arkansas won the series. They outscored them 12 to, let's do my math here, 12 to 10. And they won the series, so good for them. But they struck out more times than Missouri, and that's not good. Missouri's pitching it just can't be that good. You can't get me to believe that Missouri pitching is good enough for Arkansas to strike out 32 times over the span of 3 games. And now you'll have games when Arkansas strikes out and they still win by double digits. I looked into the stats at that a little bit. But when you're striking out so many times and you're also not putting up runs, that's not good. That's an issue that needs to be fixed. And it was a problem last year, and it comes back to this idea of, to me, it comes back to probably what fans are also thinking about, which is Arkansas's hitting coach, Nate Thompson. Guy who's been around, past 6 or 7 years at Arkansas. It's been a good amount of time, and they've had a lot of success, but a lot of just frustrating moments as well. And even last year, as good as their offense was, they still struggle with strikeouts at times. Now, every baseball team's going to struggle with it, but this seems like more than your average struggle. And that's why it's a bigger issue than just, hey, they struck out a couple times. No, they struck out 32 times, and that's more than the team that they beat, that they won a series against. So that's not good. My final thing, my third big thing of my 3 big things from Arkansas's weekend series against Missouri, a good job cleaning up the fielding errors. And the quotes I put on there is because they did have some fielding issues, but technically none of it was ruled as errors. You're thinking that it was first or second inning on Saturday in their loss to Missouri. There was clearly some issues there, but none of it resulted in technically an error. But they still did get better. That's not saying much because in their last Game 3 game at home against Georgia, they had 6 errors. It's the most they'd ever had in 10-plus years, 6 errors. Then they come back this weekend series, they have none. That's good. That's good. Last week I came on this show, on my show, and I said fix the things that are fixable. The things that are fixable are silly little costly errors. And Arkansas didn't have many of those. Unfortunately, and it's kind of surprisingly, Missouri didn't either. So that's why it made this weekend more close than it should have been. So good on Arkansas fielding. When I try to talk about baseball, I try to talk about the 3 big things: hitting, pitching, and fielding. Fielding was fine this weekend. I know they had some issues here or there, but no errors. So statistically, it was perfect. We'll take that. So let's take that positive energy, that great fielding, let's put it on hitting, let's put it on pitching. And let's get better at all 3 of those things to become a complete team to get ready to go and finish the year strong. And speaking of finish the year strong, here's what head coach Dave Van Horn had to say after their weekend series win, but after their loss on Saturday against Missouri.
Yeah, this is a good time for us to, play a couple games, the last 2 midweek games of the year, which is hard to even believe that it's gone that fast. And then a really, really good Ole Miss team that's coming in this weekend, veteran squad, and then not a midweek game, and then we play OU, and then again we're kind of we're in finals and that, and then another week where we don't play a midweek game, but we play again on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday situation to finish up regular season at Kentucky. So This is important 11 games we have left.
Yeah, it's a final stretch. It's the final stretch for this Arkansas baseball team. And they're going to make the NCAA tournament. I don't think that we're concerned about that. But they're not going to be a top eight seed like they have been in years past, which means they'll host the first round of the NCAA tournament, the regionals. And then if they win that, they would host the second round, the super regionals, like they have in years past, like they did last year when they made it to Omaha. The road to Omaha ran through Fayetteville, and they accomplished that through Fayetteville. This year, it's not going to be the case. They're not going to be a top 8 team for sure. Doubtful to be a top 16 team. Top 16 would mean you're going to host the first weekend, a regional. Then the super regional, probably you'll go on the road. It might change, but probably. That's kind of where Arkansas sits. Arkansas sits as a 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, and it's been a while since they've, I guess, go back to, I think it was 2022 maybe, when that team just had their struggles, but then they went to Stillwater and they won there, and they went to Chapel Hill and they knocked off North Carolina, then they made it to Omaha. Granted, in Omaha, I think they had won once and lost twice. It wasn't a successful Omaha trip. So do I have a lot of confidence in Arkansas even making it to the College World Series? No, and if they get there, it's very unlikely. Why? Because they're inconsistent hitting and because of their pitching, not able to have a Game 3 starter. Those are the issues with this Arkansas team. We've talked about them a lot. But this is what they have coming up. And if they want any chance, or if you at home want any chance to have some confidence in Arkansas going forward, they got to finish strong. They got to finish strong. They've got Ole Miss this weekend. Before that, Tuesday, Wednesday series against Northwestern, Missouri, Idaho State, or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. They play Tuesday, Wednesday series against those Yoo-Hoos. And then they get back into their SEC play, and this is how they finish it up. They host Ole Miss. That's a really hot Ole Miss team. That is a top 20 team. So that'll be a challenge for the Hogs because Ole Miss, I think, maybe has won 11 of their last 12, 12 of the last 13, 11 of the last 13, somewhere around there. They're a good team. They're a hot team. Arkansas, they were not doing well, and they beat Alabama, and now they're kind of headed in an okay direction. It's just tough to figure out what Arkansas team is going to show up against Ole Miss. They're probably going to lose Game 3, so they probably should win the first 2. That'd be nice to at least clinch the series, but we'll see. I've got confidence in them actually winning Game 1. It's just this team can't put together a full 3-game series. They just can't. I've only done it once this season, and that was at Alabama, so I really don't know. But anyway, Ole Miss this weekend. The weekend after that, they'll get Oklahoma, a much improved Oklahoma team from a season ago, and then they'll go on the road to Kentucky, a Kentucky team that is headed in the wrong direction this season and may not make the NCAA tournament. And then after that, they've got the SEC tournament, which doesn't matter normally, but maybe this year it's a tournament that matters. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it doesn't matter for Arkansas baseball. If it doesn't matter, that means they've taken care of business in these last 3 series of the season. Then they get to the SEC tournament and say, we're going to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament no matter what. Or we're going to be a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament no matter what. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully they're not going into the SEC tournament being like, man, we got to win 2 or 3 games to make the tournament or to be a 3 seed or be a 2 seed or to host. I mean, maybe that's possible. But best case scenario, Arkansas, let's think about it here. Arkansas wins 2 out of 3 against Ole Miss, 2 out of 3 against Oklahoma, 2 out of 3 against Kentucky. And then you go to Hoover for the SEC baseball tournament, you have some fun there. And you get ready for regionals. And I think there's still an outside chance Arkansas makes it to the College World Series, but it just seems unlikely at this point. They haven't shown to me, again, that they can put together a consistent couple games, 3 games in specific, to make a run. And they need to win 3 games in the regionals, 2 games in the super regionals to make it on to Omaha. So that'll be the tough challenge for Arkansas baseball. All right, let's move on to Arkansas softball now. All right, Arkansas softball. They also played Missouri. They also lost their last game of the series. Now, they won the series. They won their first 2 games. As you see behind me, it wasn't the prettiest weekend. A 4-0 win on Friday, a 9-2 win on Saturday. That was great, and then a 3-1 loss on Sunday. Not ideal. Friday, they were great. Jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Peyton Burnham was good. 7 innings pitched. Only gave 5 hits, no runs. Great in that. Great pitching effort. Saturday, Saturday was a little bit different. Friday, they started out hot. I think, yeah, jumped out to 3-0 lead and then won 4-0. Saturday, they started out real cold. They were down 1-0 in the 5th or 6th inning, and then they scored 9 runs in the last 2 innings of the ball game. They're down to their final 7 outs, about to lose the game, sort of, and then they just kind of caught fire. And that's what I think people thought was going to happen the next day. On Sunday, when they lost 3-1, they just never got it going. They had 1 run, and that was it, and that's uncharacteristic. It was an uncharacteristic weekend for Arkansas softball, which is slightly concerning because they've got 1 series left. They've got at Texas, and it's a top 5 Texas team. So Arkansas better bring their A game because they just need to win 1. That's all I'm saying for Arkansas softball. You win 1 at Texas, that's great. But yeah, a team that struggled. Here's what head coach Courtney Deifel had to say after Sunday's loss.
I think we've just been disappointed. I don't think we played well enough to win today. I think that's the biggest thing is they outplayed us and outperformed us today, and it's not going to go your way when that happens. So we didn't really like our adjustments that we made, and we just flat thought Mizzou played better than us. They deserve to win.
All right, some other college baseball scores from the weekend. As always, we got my grid here. Usually like to have a little bit more green than we do red, but not the best weekend for our teams. Let's start with Little Rock losing this series at Lindenwood, a bit of an upset. The Trojans, they're actually tied for first place in the OVC. They could have had a real good shot if they would have performed a little bit better on the road in Missouri this weekend, but they did not. They won 1 of 3, but still tied for first in their conference. Meanwhile, UCA is on a hot streak right now. Granted, they've played 2 of the worst teams in their division, but a dominating win and a lot of offense scored on Friday and Saturday, and then come back Sunday, get a 6-3 win over Bellarmine. They're now 13-8 in conference play. Arkansas State, no bueno there this weekend. A home series against Louisiana, a team that Arkansas State, standings-wise, should have been a little bit better than. You would have thought this game being in Jonesboro, they would have performed a little better. But they get a tough loss on Friday. They come back Saturday. This game was tied at 5. Went to extra innings in Louisiana. Well, they put up 6 runs in the 10th or 11th inning to get the win in extra innings. So a tough one. But they're good on the Red Wolves to come back and avoid what would have been an ugly sweep. Salvage at least 1 game, getting an 8-3 win on Sunday. And then UAPB, no bueno for them either. On the road at Southern, not good pitching, pretty good batting. 11-7 loss Friday, 10-8 loss Saturday, 16-15 on Sunday. The Golden Lions fall to 12-9 in conference play. So there's a look at Little Rock, Central Arkansas, Arkansas State, and Arkansas Pine Bluff from the weekend. Let's move on to football now. Razorback football time. The season is not really kicked off, but spring game has concluded, and we're getting one step closer to officially the Ryan Silverfield era kicking off in Fayetteville. I've got some quick thoughts, some quick takeaways, but the reality is I wasn't there. This is just from reading I've done and from highlights and listening to Coach Silverfield afterwards. But who was there was our sports director, Tyler Cass, and he's got more from Razorback Stadium.
Well, the Razorbacks took the field in front of fans here at Razorback Stadium for the first time under head coach Ryan Silverfield, of course, playing against each other. Red team versus white team in the annual Razorback spring game. Every coach has different ways they like to go about doing these things. For Coach Silverfield, he distributed players evenly across each team, and, well, it showed pretty darn even. 14-13, the final score.
Which, hey, when you're playing against yourselves, probably a good thing that it was close. Little Rock Parkview alum Cam Settles turned some heads.
Got it in the red zone, goal line. They got to be automatic for us, and then our O-line did what they had to do. And, I'm going to do what I have to do behind my O-line. So, yeah.
And the QB competition will clearly continue into the fall.
Listen, I think, both KJ and AJ have continued to make steps in the right direction. I thought you got to see some positives and some negatives from both today.
But above all else, it's simply a wrap on Ryan Silverfield's first spring as Arkansas's head football coach.
I think we took some great steps in a positive direction, almost here 5 months now. Pleased with the spring, excited for these guys to catch their breath for 10, 15 days and then come on back and get back to work.
The future still, though, remains filled with every possibility under the sun. From Razorback Stadium, Tyler Cass, THV 11 Sports.
All right, Tyler, thank you so much. And those were some of Tyler's recap and his thoughts from the game. I'll give a little bit more specific thoughts if you want to hear them. If you weren't able to make it, just doing some reading, like I said, and highlights watching. If you know nothing about Arkansas football heading to this year, maybe here's just a few tidbits to get you caught up, and then you're going to forget about it for a few months, and then fall ball will start in August. So that will happen. But the first thing is quarterback battle. Arkansas's got KJ Jackson coming back. He was a backup last year that did start one game in place of Taylon Green. They've got KJ Jackson. They've also got AJ Hill, the transfer from Memphis. Both those guys seem decent. I don't know if either one is not as good as Taylon Green, but I don't know if either one is going to take that step to be like, hey, I'm the starter. I'm the SEC guy. So there's a quarterback competition. That's the first thing you need to know going on between the two of them. Silverfield's not giving a lot of insight on, hey, KJ's our guy. We're going to go with him. He's a lot better. He's kind of giving love to both of them and giving critiques to both of them as well. So we'll see. Competition can be good. It can be good, but hopefully that gets worked out and one emerges in front of the other as fall ball will get going in a few months. That's first one. Other one is in the running back room. That seemed to be a big takeaway from the spring game is the running backs, the depth that they have there. A big star in the spring game was Cam Settles, the Little Rock Parkview native and Little Rock Parkview graduate and the Little Rock native seemed to really shine in the spring game. Had a touchdown. He was good. I think there's a lot of hype around him right now, and I think there should be. I still think at the end of the day, he's running back number 3 behind Braylon Russell. Probably know Braylon Russell if you followed Arkansas football the past couple seasons. And then Sutton Smith is the other guy that I think will kind of be behind Braylon Russell. Braylon's going to be a big guy. He's going to be a bruiser. He's lost weight, but he's still a bigger fella, and he'll run you over. Sutton Smith's a little bit of a shorter guy, but he's pretty speedy. He's a Memphis transfer that Arkansas will have this season. So Braylon Russell, Sutton Smith, kind of the go-to running backs. Braylon played a little bit in the spring game. Sutton barely did. I think they kind of know Sutton Smith's been around for a while. He's kind of the old guy in the running backs room is kind of the vibe that I get. So he didn't really need to play the spring game because they know what he's made of. They wanted to see Cam Settles because Cam's got a year under his belt and not a lot of experience for the Razorbacks. But deep running back room is also something we learned from spring football. Wide receiver room, still kind of figuring it out. C.J. Brown had a 75-yard touchdown pass from KJ Jackson. That was the first or second or third touchdown of the game. Will Courtney Crutchfield make the leap that he needs to this season? We've seen some highlights, but can he be consistent? They've got Chris Marshall, who's a possible starting receiver for the Razorbacks. I think Marshall was a guy who started at Texas A&M, then went JUCO, then went Boise State, and now here for the Razorbacks. And then, of course, Antonio Jordan. He's the guy we got up behind me, the Warren native. He can make some big plays, and he's a big fella, meaning tall. He's a tall guy and can go up and make some big plays. So hopefully they can utilize him in a lot of ways this season. That's offensively, and then quickly defense. They seem to have a decent defense for a spring game. This final score was 14-13. The red team beat the white, so nothing crazy there. But what you want to see out of the defense, make sure I pronounce this right. They did have a pick six. Song Inu is my best prediction of how you pronounce his name. Had a pick 6. So that's optimistic, I guess, if you want to give a little bit of optimism to an Arkansas defense that will be improved from last season, ? But we'll see how much improved is the real question. So that's enough Arkansas football talk. Let's go to baseball quickly as we wrap up in the final few minutes here. Basketball, I should say. As we talk about the final kind of push ahead. Arkansas, the transfer portal has officially closed. You see it. We've talked about it the past few weeks. Who is leaving Arkansas's team, who's returning, and who's incoming. And a lot of guys are departing. Are we freaking out? No, we're not freaking out yet. If I come back in a couple weeks and it's like, this is still what Arkansas look like and there's nothing new, then yeah, I'm gonna start complaining a little bit. Here's a couple things to note. Lots of names up there you see behind me. Talk about them briefly. Pringle and Brazil out of eligibility. Don't have to worry about them. Those were last year's players, or this past year's players, I should say. Carter Knox going to Louisville. DJ Wagner going to Maryland. Elmer Josic, can't remember where he's going. They're both in the portal as well as Kareem Rattel. Malik Thomas asterisk by his name, and then a couple lines down, you got Billy Richmond. I should have put an asterisk by his name as well. Billy Richmond, Malik Ewan. Darius Acuff's gone. Don't have to worry about him. Jaden Carluetwa, you can kiss him goodbye. We don't worry about him. The big three there on the left side of your screen, you see it behind me. Malik Thomas, Billy Richmond, Malik Ewan. Malik Thomas and Billy Richmond have both declared for the NBA draft. They have a month to really assess, hey, do I really want to do this thing? Hey, what are you telling me, scouts? Let me do the NBA draft combine and see, am I good enough to go play in the NBA and to make more money than what I'm going to make if I go back to college and play with the Razorbacks? That's what they're deciding right there now. So they're testing the waters in the NBA route. There's a very real possibility, probably Billy Richmond more likely than Malik Thomas, that Billy Richmond comes back. But there's nothing wrong with going and having some scouts look at you and say, hey, you might get drafted, you might not. But if you go back to college and you improve on these things and you come back next year and you're better in these things, then you'll be a first-round pick. That could very well happen with Billy Richmond. And honestly, if I could predict it right now, I'm going to say Billy Richmond's coming back. So don't freak out too much is all I'm saying. And it's important to note, he didn't say I'm entering the transfer portal and the NBA draft, meaning I'm going to NBA draft, but if I don't get NBA draft, I'm coming back and I'm entering the portal, I'm going somewhere else. No, if he doesn't make the NBA draft, he's coming back, guys. He's coming back. So that's the case with Billy Richmond. Same scenario with Malik Thomas. I just think is not as likely to happen. I think Malik Thomas could be a guy where like, hey, you're good enough right now, you're going to be drafted late first round. That's my prediction on Malik Thomas. And then Malik Ewan, he technically needed to enter the transfer portal because he doesn't know if he has eligibility left to continue playing. And Arkansas just kind of needed to move on because they're still waiting on that. I don't know what that whole process entails, but they have to wait on Malik Ewan. Or Malik Ewan has to wait on his waiver to get back to see if he can play another year of college ball. But Arkansas can't wait on him. They've got to go out and get someone else to replace him. Now, hopefully, though he gets a waiver back soon, then Malik Ewan can just come right on back. The transfer portal is officially closed, so he had to kind of enter it, but he can always come back. Just a reminder on that. If he hasn't committed, he can always come back. So that's a possibility. We've talked about the other guys you see on the screen there, the confirmed returners, unconfirmed. We don't worry about them. The big freshmen and the transfer portal, those incoming guys are going to be playmakers on Arkansas's team. So if you're worried about this Razorback team, don't. This will get filled out as the weeks go along, and it's been slower than we want. But I'm still confident this team's going to be awesome. It's going to be really fun. All right, let's end my show how we always do. Typically how we always do with my Luttie's Legend of the Week. And this week we're going back to the Diamonds. We're going to the softball world. Jordan Merritt, Ouachita Baptist University softball player. She had 4 home runs over the weekend in the Battle of the Ravine softball edition over Henderson State. 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. OBU won the series over HSU 2-1. The crazy thing is with Jordan Merritt, she had 2 home runs. The entire season, she had 2 home runs. And in this weekend, she had 4, which is pretty impressive. So well done to Jordan Merritt and OBU for a big weekend for their softball program. All right, well, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Luttie's Look Back. A lot of baseball, softball, football, basketball talk. We'll do it same time, same place next week. Talking about I don't know what, but we'll see you then.